American Youth Organization. They came in, but they were more I mean, esos estaban dispuestos a pelear físicamente.
Raymond Velasquez, right?
Raymond Velasquez,
From Uvalde, Texas.
from Uvalde, Texas.
Okay. Senor, this interview is part of the Sembradores, the Aztlan Oral History Project, which is part of our museum, Museo Guadalupe Aztlan in Houston. Pero buenas tardes, aquí estamos en San Antonio. Tell us about your involvement with MAYO, did you say?
Mexican American Youth Organization.
Okay. How did that begin? How did you start to get involved? What got you started?
Well, there were about 3 or 4 people from outside Uvalde. And one of them was from Uvalde, Jose Oriegas. And then there was Jose Angel Gutierrez from Crystal City, Mario Compian from San Antonio.
Right.
And there was, Patlan, Juan Patlan.
What Patlan? Okay.
They were a little bit older than us.
Okay.
We were young. We were about 17, 18, 16 years old. But they were a little bit older. Oh, Gabriel Tafoya from Uvalde.
Okay.
And they were active, very active. Below. Then came in Willie Velasquez and Senator Joe Bernal. I mean, they came in and they would let us know how things were. And we realized that they were telling us the truth because we had already seen it in our school system. Como they used to discriminate against them. You spoke one word of Spanish, you would have to write out 25 times, I will not speak Spanish in class anymore. I will not speak Spanish in class anymore. I will not speak. I mean, you would get punished. I mean, corporal punishment. You go to, you misbehave, go to office. You know what was in the office, 3 or 4 leaks from the principal. So we saw all of that. When they came in and advised us that we had to do something, that we had to speak up, or else things would not change. We believed them and we did it. We formed the Mexican American Youth Organization, MAYO.
And where did y'all used to meet?
We used to meet ahí por la calle Nicholas Street and Flores Street. There was an old building that belonged to a black minister. He would let us meet there. I mean, it was vacant, so we just asked him if we could have that as a meeting place. He said, yeah, go ahead.
Do you remember his name?
Harvey Kinchlow. Harvey Kinchlow.
Okay.
Harvey Kinchlow.
Okay.
His son was a huge member of the PTL club. He just passed away, Harvey Kinchlow Jr. But he was over there in Atlanta or something over there.
So how many members were in the organization? If you can name them. Yeah.
Well, I can name them all.
Go ahead.
It was Alfredo Santos was one of them.
Yeah. Speak a little bit louder, por favor, because of the distance.
Alfredo Santos, Rogelio Muñoz, Amaro Cardona, Ricardo Nevares, Ricardo García, Chema Hernández, los Zamoras, Emilio Zamora. He was known as Mo Zamora and Pete Zamora. I mean, and Armando Cardona, that's Amaro Cardona's brother. And Portillos, Morales. I mean, there were about 50 to 100 members.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah, well, I have to take this phone.
Ali?
Hello. No, unos 15 minutos más. ¿Vas a llamar para atrás o quieres que te llame? Okay, bye. Did we record that?
I can edit that.
Yeah.
Take it out. So, Patlan came, Jose Angel Gutierrez came to Uvalde, and where did that meeting take place?
Jose Angel Gutierrez también was there. I mean, ese Jose Angel Gutierrez, he would ask us to go to Crystal City, because they were over there. It was a stronger movement.
Right.
De la raza.
Right. La Raza Unida.
La Raza Unida. Right.
Right.
They formed La Raza Unida.
Right. Yeah.
A statewide political party. But it was for the purpose of uniting a los mexicanos to get up and vote, get out and vote. Same way que hacen los black people now, black Americans, African Americans, they unite and back then we didn't have phones at home. We didn't have phones. We had to do it either verbally or porque muy pocos tenían teléfono. We're talking 1967, 68.
So you mentioned Willie Velasquez. Was he part of the organization también?
Well, he was one of the, over here, where he was involved in voting.
Okay. The Southwest Voter Registration
Right.
Project.
Well, they formed it around that time.
Yeah.
But he was main influence was in voting,
Mm-hmm.
because he saw that that's the only way we could gain political power and change the ways, the way we live.
Okay. So I understand that there were some meetings that y'all had with the school board. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And hold us by the hand and tell us what happened at that meeting from beginning to end. Y'all met somewhere before y'all went to the meeting, ¿verdad?
We met either, I think it was at the Catholic Church in Uvalde, but mostly were older people, como parents. They formed their own organization después, se llamaba the MAPA, Mexican American Parents or Association.
Okay.
Yeah, MAPA. They came in after MAYO because we united first, and then the parents got behind us and support. We needed the support, otherwise we couldn't be in the organization and doing this and doing that. So they supported us, the parents.
So y'all met at the church?
We had meetings at the church.
Uh-huh.
We had meetings at homes like Noel Morales, and then we used to meet. The MAYO, we used to meet here at that place that was furnished by the black minister.
Okay.
We used to meet there.
Okay. But that was a vacant place.
It was a vacant building,
Uh-huh.
so we could meet there anytime
Mhm.
after school. We meet there.
Okay. Okay.
Rogelio Munoz, he was one, like I was telling brother here, okay,
The one that became lawyer.
he became an attorney.
Okay.
He was one of the outspoken ones. I mean, he wasn't afraid. None of us were afraid, but he would speak up.
Mm-hmm.
And he became an attorney. He used to tell us, like I was telling brother Kike, at the meeting, that we have to get our parents to vote. We have to get our uncles and aunts and cousins to go vote if they're old enough. Back then you had to be 21 to vote. Back then the drinking age was 21. It was not 18.
And was there a polling, did you have to pay a polling tax?
Not us. We didn't have to pay.
Okay.
They had abolished it already, but we couldn't vote. Some of us were 17, 18 years old. So we had to push the people that could vote and get them out to us. We used to go door to door, knocking on doors, getting people to
Who
help.
we are voting for, brother?
Well, school board elections and city hall elections, city council elections. Y luego teníamos county commissioners election. We got Gilbert Torres, the commissioner. We got him elected in 1974. The first Mexican American commissioner from Uvalde County was Gilberto Torres. Él fue el primero. Y ese hombre también era uno de los que juntaba con José Oriega, José Ángel Gutiérrez, because he was an older man. I think he was 29 or 30 years old when we were 17 or 18.
So as far as the meeting notes, the newspaper, which we mentioned, Revolucion, were there any people who were taking notes of the meetings that you know of?
Well, the one that would take notes would be Alfredo Santos. He was already into that. Alfredo Santos was into getting names, and he still is. When you said Alfredo Santos, I know Alfredo Santos because he's always been active in that field of writing and recording. I mean, you want information, you talk to Alfredo Santos.
Sure,
He knows.
sure.
He knows. We were there, and I'm glad that I don't regret being a member of MAYO. I tell anybody, we era la raza unida, la raza unida, and we knew that only united we could overcome, we could conquer, and we could change the ways that existed, conditions that existed. Okay. Like I said, in the fields, there were times there were hard times. Hard times, porque they would pay you 50, 60 cents an hour, they would work you in the hot sun. And no sanitary conditions, como que, hey, where do we go? Well, go behind that tree over there. I mean, we were like the black slaves back in this
So-
1800.
So is that at that time when you were going to school, there was no classes in Mexican American studies, Chicano studies, and was MAYO pushing for those classes?
Yes, we did push for Hispanic counselors. That we needed counselors in Canada. We didn't get one until later on. Pero
And who was that?
the first one, I think they appointed Miss Martinez. Pero she didn't have it in her to push Hispanic. Pero
But in other words, there was no Mexican American studies
No.
taught at the school,
no,
and very little teachers, Chicano
very little
teachers.
Hispanic teacher, yeah.
Okay. So,
Back then,
but was MAYO focused on making that happen? Do you know?
yes, we need more Hispanic school teachers who went before the school board, and we brought out that was an issue, that we need more Hispanic school teachers.
Okay.
We need more Hispanic counselors to counsel the Hispanic students, because we used to make about 60% of the student body. We were more than them. But in '65, when I graduated, we were not. We were not. The Hispanic, the student population was not 50%. We were maybe 45. But by 1968, ya eran más que la mitad, more than 50% Hispanic student population. And that's when we started electing our student council president de la escuela, and cheerleaders, head cheerleaders, and the queen of the, whatever you call it, the prom.
Yeah.
We started electing Mexicanos.
So what was your position within MAYO? What did you do mostly? Did you have a position within MAYO?
We didn't have no position. Everybody would just go and act and be there.
Okay.
Of course, we looked up to Rogelio Muñoz as the leader, because he was always leading us. Hey, we're going to do this and do that. We have to do this. I was telling Brother Lorenzo here que Muñoz went through a lot at the UT. Once he told us, him and Gilbert Cuellar, he lives over there in Sugarland, close to Houston.
Right.
We used to call him Heavy. Heavy. Football players, they suffered a lot. Rogelio Muñoz and Cuellar, they used to sleep in a car or going to UT and eating bologna sandwiches and chips and cokes just to graduate, to get an education. There was no grants aquí, bro. Let's see, you get grants and student loans, and there's school programs where you work study programs.
So there was a walkout in 70 or 71?
No, the walkout was in 19. If I'm not, I think it was in 68.
68?
Yeah, 68, 69. I can't
Okay.
recall. Pero
And MAYO was part of the walkout?
sí.
Okay. Who organized the walkout, do you know?
The first one to this walkout was, it was Commissioner Torres, Jose Briegas, and those, Jose Angel Gutierrez, those are the guys that were talking, let's walk out. So we walked out.
When you were at the walkout?
I was at the walkout, but I had already graduated.
Okay.
But my brothers, the younger brother,
Yep.
and my sister, they all participated. They lost 1 year of education because of the walkout. Everybody that participated in the walkout, they lost that 1 year. They had to repeat it. But I mean, you pay a price.
Yep.
Yeah, you pay a price. Well, the changes were made.
And where did the walkout start? At a home or at a community center, or where did it start? And did it start in the school or outside of the school?
No, it started as we got organized to where we said we're not going to school Monday. No, nobody. When most of the Hispanic students participated, some Hispanic students, they stayed in school because their parents were afraid of getting fired from the positions. They put pressure on the parents. I mean,
Yep.
I remember there's a man, I'm not going to mention his name, but he used to work for a rancher. And he had 3 or 4 children, and he kept them in school because the rancher had threatened him. You send those kids to school or you're going to get fired. So of course he sent them to school.
You remember the person's name and the rancher?
But of the rancher.
Yeah. Or what about the parents?
They already passed away.
Or what was his name? Do you remember?
Okay. But things like that, you know, there were parents that used to work at stores, I used business, local businesses,
And there were very few jobs.
yeah.
Yep.
Was there good dialogue when y'all had the meetings with the school board?
After
Was there
the,
dialogue between
Yeah,
between the MAYO and the school board?
right. But they wouldn't listen, so once the walkout started, then they started listening. Let's hear your demands. So we present a lot of demands.
And who wrote the demands? Do you remember?
The group of parents, they got together and they pitched in, and we need this and we need that. And the dress code, the way the teachers needed to treat the students, they needed to be treated equally, just like they treat the Anglo students, treat the Hispanic students. He changed their ways. It made them, you know, sit down and think, hey, we got to change it, or these people. A lot of people don't know that for every day that student missed school, the district was losing money. A lot of people don't know that. So the more people that were absent, the more money they're losing. The district is losing money from the state, porque no les va a pagar. They're not going to get paid. I don't know. Back then, I think it was $50 a day per student. Per student. The school district gets $50 back then. I don't know now how much it is, but we can check into that. How much money they get paid per student. If that student is absent, they don't get paid for the student. So the school, they'll walk out. That was the purpose behind it. Make them lose money. So muchos they're gonna lose money if I don't go to school. Make them lose money. And decía Jose Ortega, you hit them where it hurts. Fuck it. Hit them where it hurts. When they start losing money, pues ¿cómo les van a pagar a los school teachers? ¿Cómo les van a pagar a los principals? How are they going to pay them if they're losing money?
So to end, what do you think you gained the most from being involved with MAYO?
Well, they changed the to where they couldn't restrict the students to speak English only. Now you can speak Spanish. Outside the classroom. Outside the classroom, you could speak Spanish. Before the walkout, even in the playground, you couldn't speak Spanish. If a teacher heard you speaking Spanish, they would punish you, even in outside the classroom. But now, they changed the rules to where inside the classroom, English only. Outside, you can speak Spanish. You go outside, you hablaba español. No more punishment, no more.
And that started after the walkout. Gotcha.
There were a lot of changes, positive changes. They were positive. It was worth it. It was the walkout was worth it. And there are some of the participants were still alive.
It was all peaceful.
Yeah, peaceful. But, there was a Texas Ranger who he used to intimidate a los students. He tried to intimidate the parents, pero los parents no se dejaban. The Texas Ranger.
What was his name? Do you remember?
Ali.
Mande?
Ali.
Ali? Okay.
You heard that name?
No.
Texas Ranger Ali. I don't recall his first name, but he was an older man, pero era racista. He was a racist, and you could tell he was a racist.
Bye. Thank you, Mom.
He didn't like me. Hizo puchar ahí a la señora at the elementary school, Rap Elementary, ROBB.
Okay.
Hizo intimidate on his parents.
Okay. But
Bye,
that's
Zay.
like
Señor les
all
habla.
right.
They went after him.
Bye, Zay.
Kind of take my time.
Bye. All right, see you tomorrow in the morning, Mr. Medel.
Bye, Miguel.
Yeah.
Okay, bye,
Bye.
guys. Have a nice night.
Bye, Michelle. Hi, Zimbo.
Who you got right there?
No se peinó.
Míralo.
Se le levantaron los cabellos así.
That's
Así-
okay.
Así me miraba yo cuando estaba chiquito. Yo tengo retratos. Pero estoy así.
Velasquez, ¿verdad?
Yes.
Muchas gracias, señor. And the difference that you made in Uvalde are still being felt today
Yes.
with the Brown Beret movement in MAYO.
Brown Berets. They came in from San Antonio, and then we formed it allí. We have a small group of Brown Berets.
Oh, I forgot to ask you, did MAYO have a chapter name there in Uvalde? A mascot? No, así.
No, más Mexican American. The Uvalde Mexican American Youth Organization.
Got it.
Uvalde.
Got it.
They had MAYO in Crystal City, they had MAYO in Carrizo Springs, and you use the name of the town. Carrizo Springs, Mexican American Youth
We
Organization.
had it in Houston.
También, yeah.
Yeah. Lawrence, do you have any questions for Mr. Velasquez? No. Muchas gracias, señor.
Thank you.
Sí, cómo no.
Buena suerte.
Got it.